So a lot of Manchester United supporters were moved by the personality, the passion, and the character that was exhibited by Mathijs Ligt as Manchester United beat Brentford by 2 goals to 1. In fact, some excited fans are saying Bruno Fernandes should be stripped of the captaincy and they hand it over to Mathijs de Ligt. Well, I think that's being overexcited. That's being too carried away. But in this video, I want to pay tribute to the passion of Mathis de Ligt and why he has shown attributes of a Manchester United footballer. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's get into it now. De Ligt, again, his absence on the pitch is what gave Brentford their goal that put us under pressure for a moment. But good enough, it was at the stroke of halftime, and when we returned, we're a whole different fire and element. So we fought and won this game convincingly in an exciting second stanza that we had not seen from Man United in a while. Mathis de Ligt, whereas many people voted for Alejandro Garnacho as man of the match on the Manchester United website, de Ligt indeed proved himself worthy of putting on the Manchester United jersey. The way, first of all, his reaction when he was told to go and have his head, cleaned and worked on. They wanted to substitute him because of a possible concussion. He said, "I want to stay on. I'm not leaving." That is something you don't see every day from these Gen Z kids, these young kids of today. They don't want to play with stitches. They are too soft and lazy. A small knock and they want to go off. I was listening to Thierry Henry, and he said for over 10 years he played with pain in his legs. He had pain in both of his legs because I think his thighs, because of injury. But he played through that and scored so many goals to go on to become one of the greatest strikers in the history of the Premier League. This is the character that has been lacking at Man United. Mathis de Ligt is showing us that he has got it. I last saw, I think, a Man United player play the way he did with that blood. I think it was Vidic, Nemanja Vidic, way back, and Vidic is one of the greatest defenders to ever play for Man United. So for me, that was a big score for Mathis de Ligt. That is the kind of fire we need our players to have. We've seen a bit of it. It has gone down lately, but we saw a little bit of it from Lisandro Martinez. You love to see it back then. When Casemiro was at his best, he had it. These are the leaders that were lacking in Manchester United. And we're beginning to get them. We're beginning to create leaders who understand what it means to play for this badge, who understand what it means to fight for a badge, who understand that this is not, you don't earn so many £1,000 per week, hundreds of thousands of pounds per week just to get a small cut and you want to be put off and you'll be comfortable being on the bench. Play safe. Because we know that there were certain United players who were hiding behind injuries not to play. This is for me the character that we need. And whereas I'm not among those who are so excited saying he should be given the captaincy and they strip Bruno Fernandes, I agree he's another lead on the team. And you see, the more leaders you have on the team, the better. It's not just about who has the captain's armband. I think it's those so many leaders and personalities that we had back then in our successful years that made Manchester United a difficult team to play against. Because whereas Roy Keane wore the captain's armband, we had people in that dressing room like Rio Ferdinand, we had people like Ryan Giggs, we had people like even Rooney himself, like David Beckham. All these players were leaders in their own right. So they were leaders in all departments. And when you have such personalities, it is always going to be a competitive atmosphere, and that's all you need. Players will consistently be checked. They will consistently be psyched up. They will consistently have reason to fight hard to perform. For me, that's big credit. So I want to give credit to Mathis de Ligt for what he showed and how he performed eventually in the game, how he was running. He was not lazy at all. He was winning balls. He was winning tackles. He had such a beautiful game. We saw his technical abilities, and this time around, I've been calling him out for being a little bit slow, but probably his fitness is getting up, and now we saw him pick up his pace, and he was not only technical, he was also physical, always in the right place at the right time. For me, All these are big scores for such a player. And if he has consistent performances like this, it will only make the team better because the best leaders usually are, are good if they are positioned in the back line, leading from the back. So if you have such a personality, you've got a Lisandro Martinez, another big personality in the back. I think it's a good way for us to have an organized team because these are technically gifted players with characters of champions. Mathijs de Ligt was captain at Ajax, I think at 18 or 17 or thereabout. He was a teenager when he was made captain. It was not by mistake. It is because of this personality we are beginning to see. And that is why Erik Ten Hag insisted on signing him even when he was not 100% fit. When they assessed him and saw that he had a certain percentage of fitness to him, he said, "We need this leader in this team." They did not bring him because of his football, because he was not really playing at Bayern. There were better, more active centre backs who could have got for the same amount. But the leaders that Man United lacked, because United had brought all good players from all over in here for years and years, but they were not performing. It was not just about the football. And I want to credit Erik Ten Hag for insisting. The leaders were lacking in Man United. And if you have such leaders in the team, he's going to only make everyone around better. The young players who are coming in, everyone is going to push themselves, push one another for us to get the best out of every player we have. That for me is a big score for Manchester United. Beautiful stuff. I love to see it. So Delete is fast becoming a fan favorite, and you love to see it because it's been a while since we had. Now the only thing is for him to be consistent. Consistency in terms of both fitness, but also in terms of his performances as a player. If he's consistent, I think we can tap a lot into his leadership and passion and pass it on to the rest of the players. Because if you're passionate, you're well led, it's always going to eventually, you play, you get comfortable, you let out. And when that happens and the fans see it, the energy will be passed into the fans. And trust you me, it will only make you a better player, a more expressive player, if if it's there. So it's a big I feel like it's a big uh, uh, thing for Manchester United, for Delete to be viewed now as such, as a passionate player who loves the badge, who already understands and appreciates how big it is to play for Man United, and he's already putting in the hard yards, and we all love to see it. Now, uh, as we, of course, approach the coming days, where we, of course, look at quite a number of things concerning the club and how we can capitalize on our good performance in the last game. I thought there were lots of things for us to pick from. I think that second half gave the right template for us to mold our playing style from. I heard Carlo Ancelotti speaking about how he's the kind of manager who changes his playing style depending on the players he has at his disposal. The way he played at Everton is not the way he plays at Real Madrid now. Understandably, I kept saying the same thing. Erik Ten Hag before was so rigid and stuck to playing a certain way, yet it did not suit the players he had, even in his own admission. So why not play the way that suits those players for the sake of the results, and you get the results? What's the fascination with your playing style? I feel like he's becoming more open-minded now, and that second half proved it, because the second half performance was not the typical Erik Ten Hag way. The way those goals came was not the Erik Ten Hag way. This was the Man United way. Stick to the DNA and you won't regret. That's why it's there. So DNA is passion. That's the lead. That's Lisandro Martinez. That's Bruno. That's Hoyland. I feel he has it just a bit. He's still young and playful, but he has got to wake up. I think his post sometime that got him a bit of flack from Man United supporters, got him back to his senses to know that this club is not enough for you to score. You should win. And if you don't win, you should feel bad about it. You should win, regardless of you scoring. It's about the team. So all these are the things that I think we're beginning to see be changed around the club, and you love to see it. It can only get better if these indeed marginal gains by Ineos, change in passion, change in expression, if they only keep compiling, Man United will be back where it belongs sooner rather than later. It's a it's a matter of time. So that's pretty much like it. I needed to highlight a bit of that. I really needed to give a proper highlight of that. Now the competition, guys, we've prayed for depth at Man United. We prayed for return of injured players. Sadly, some are again back to the to the sick bay, but the depth at Manchester United for me is beginning to be seen. I feel like players are beginning to step up. Look at Ahmad now, who we thought this was going to be his season. He's actually now being relegated to the bench and not even making a cameo. And clearly, Garnacho and Rashford have shown why they are starting. Anthony, the few games he came on, was stepping up his game. You can see that the competition created after the summer transfer window is beginning to create to give us a different side of these players that we had not seen. I think one of the things we struggled with before was the fact that certain players felt entitled to starting games. Even in the back line, there's lots of rotations, and of course, it's a risky thing to do because usually you want the centre back partnership to be consistent, just as it is with the goalkeeper. But the fact that Ligt and Lisandro Martinez could be benched after bad games and we still actually perform well, when they came back, you could see that they were more battling and they were better. It shows you that I think this depth is creating competition that's clearly healthy because we are seeing good results out of this competition. So for me, I see progress. I honestly see progress in this Man United team. However subtle it is, guys, it's been just barely 3 or 4 months from the transfer window. Honestly, it can't happen overnight. For me, I think there are subtle improvements that we can look at and feel positive about the process if we can be consistent. If we can be consistent with the performance we had in the second half, I will absolutely have no reason not to trust that Erik Ten Hag could get things right if that second half is anything to go by against Brentford. But also, the body language that I saw from both players and the bench gave me hope that things can get better. We are still in a process. I'm hoping it does get to where we believe or we are beginning to sense it can get to. Very important. If that doesn't happen, it will be very disappointing, but at least we are hoping it happens so that we have some bit of stability because we are also not fans of the whole sacking and hiring. I mean, we are done with that. We are tired of it. We need to have a project. We need to have a developing, a growing, moving project. And whereas it looked like the project was not there and it was questionable, I think the last game, let's judge Erik Ten Hag and Ineos by the last game. I think it's only fair for us to do that. Let's not stick to the past. Let's judge them by the last performance. And for me, the last performance was impressive. I felt like I was watching Manchester United for once in a long time. Impressed by many players, mostly that man, Mathijs. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back later to talk more about this beloved club.